In common usage, a dictionary is a collection of words, and each word is matched with its definition. So given a word, you can look up its definition. Python has a dictionary type called dict, which you can use to create dictionaries with arbitrary definitions for character strings, and more generally, as we'll discuss. For simplicity, and to keep it close to what you're used to, let me use it in closer to the common usage, such as with a simple English-Spanish dictionary. This is example Spanish 1. Here I create a dictionary. Dict is the type, and you can use it to create an empty dictionary, which I'm going to call Spanish. Now I want to put definitions into it, and here's how you do it. With square brackets here, inside I put the word I want to define, and then set it equal to the definition. Hello in English corresponds to hola in Spanish. Similarly, for a whole bunch of other English words and corresponding Spanish words. So that's putting definitions into the dictionary. Then, once they're in there, you can use very similar notation to retrieve the definitions. I can use the same expression here, Spanish in square brackets, say 2. In this case, where it's not on the left-hand side of an assignment statement, it says read what is actually in the dictionary and give me the definition back. In this case, dos. And similarly here, it would print the Spanish for red. Here I can run this quick. I've got it up in idle, and if we run it, so we're just expecting dos just to translate 2 and red. If we run the module, there we go. We've translated 2 and red. A very simple, silly program, but it illustrates a point. Now, the idea of creating a dictionary is a unified concept. It makes sense to put that in a function. So here's just a slight rearrangement of that program. I'm putting into a function called create dictionary all the steps to create the Spanish dictionary. So all of this part is the same as before, except this function's point is to create this dictionary, so I'm returning the dictionary at the end. So now in my main function, I can just call the create dictionary function. It will return a dictionary, which I can assign to a variable, which I call dictionary. And then the last 2 lines basically correspond to what we did before, only in this case, in the main function, the name here for the dictionary is dictionary, and so this is printing the dictionary values for 2 and red. Again, it has exactly the same effect as the previous program. Oh, this also includes a documentation string, always a good thing to put in a function. And again, we have a local variable here. Spanish is separate from the value returned, and the value returned from this function can be used any which way. It can be assigned to a different named variable. In this case, I call it dictionary. We will use dictionaries much more extensively, and we'll go on to another example here. Okay, imagine that we wanted to do more stuff here. We can use the same function to create the dictionary, and then, for instance, we could count in Spanish. So I'm going to put in a list the translations of 1, 2, and 3. Or we can put Spanish colors and put the translations of red, blue, and green. You can try running the program Spanish 2A. Here I've brought up the example program Spanish 2A, and I can run it. And here's what it says. Count in Spanish, translating 1, 2, 3. Spanish colors, translating red, blue, and green. Back to the tutorial. Now I've used this Python dictionary in a traditional real-world sense of a dictionary, but in fact Python dictionaries are much more general. They do not have to associate a word and a string definition. They can associate many types of objects with some arbitrary object. The more general terminology for what would correspond to the word and definition in Python are the key and the value. So for a given key, we associate a corresponding value. There's one restriction. The key has to be an immutable type. That means that the key's type is such that it cannot be changed after it's created. We're going to most commonly use strings as keys, and they are an example of an immutable type, as are numbers. On the other hand, for instance, a dictionary is immutable. We added definitions to our Spanish dictionary. Here's an example to try using dictionaries.